We are live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Krisa Skodra, and I'm hosting Connections Unplugged from LinkedIn to Live, my personal podcast. It has been on my mind for a long time. The idea is simple. Every week, I want to introduce you to one of my LinkedIn connections. I'm connected to approximately 5,000 something, 6,000 nearly people, great professionals, inspirational people. So I thought I have such a great network. I would love to get to know them on a deeper level, personal and professional as well. So this is where the idea of Connections Unplugged started. It's an unscripted, unplugged format. My guests don't know what I'm about to ask them, so they're good sport. They're open to discuss about themselves. So open as a book, so feel free to join us. Stay tuned in this 30-minute episode to get to know my guest for today. Today, let me add him into the studio. I have the pleasure of having Maximilian LeRoux. Hi, Maximilian.
Hi, Krisa. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. You are a person, we'll get to the bottom of your personality and what you do really in your life. You're a very interesting person. Your LinkedIn profile, your headline reads CEO, co-founder at Acouspin and economist. And then when we scroll down in your about page, it says that you're an accomplished leader with an extensive record in driving global business growth across diverse industries. You bring extensive experience as a CEO, CCO, entrepreneur, co-founder, but the list goes on. I would like to get to know you because we don't really know so much. We've recently been connected because we are both candidates in the municipal elections in Espoo. You are based in Espoo. We see behind you where you are at the moment. Tell us a little bit.
Behind me is the Ring 1. I'm in Technopolis in Otaniemi. This is where everything is happening in Finland. I think on the business side, this is where research and education and businesses and public funding come together. And I really see this as the motor of Finnish economy. And it's actually a lot of fun when you just come out of the Aalto metro stop. You see there's a lot of bustling and hustling going on and lots of like hope and energy. It just feels good to come here. It gives you this drive of let's get things done and be innovative and work and do cool things.
You are, as you said, in the hub of innovation, in the heart of innovation in Finland, I would say. So you are also a multicultural, multilingual, a person that brings experience from around the world. But as a person, tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, where you're coming from. Your name is French, German. Tell us a little bit who you are and what was your childhood like? Was little Maximilian a person curious about life, wanted to go places, did you see the future when you were little, when you were a teenager? Or how have you come to this? Let's go back in time. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, will you?
Okay. It was a long question. Let's try to keep it concise. But yeah, I am half German, half Finnish with a French last name. I have an American wife and 3 kids that were all born in a different place of the world. And maybe that as all has its roots in my childhood, as my father is Bavarian and my mother is in Finland, but we lived in Frankfurt, and then we came every summer to Finland by boat. And so you drive, and my father always stopped at every castle and monastery on the way that you can find. I felt like by the age of 12, I've seen every church in Europe. And so as an architect and interested in history, of course, that was something that he was interested in, and that got me interested into all of those things as well. Like I loved castles, especially the weapons chambers in them when I was a kid. And then it was all curiosity and traveling and seeing the world. I have memories of things when I was a 10-year-old kid playing at the beach in Spain with another 10-year-old Spanish kid, and neither of us spoke the other one's language. And we had a lot of fun together for like 2 days without using hand and feet to talk. And you realize that you have a lot in common as humans. We all have the same desires, and there's just some bridges we have to. Yeah, one of them is language. So it always got me curious in learning languages. Of course, growing up bilingual helps to learn more languages, but you get this open-mindedness of like embracing how the world comes, and I keep this until today. This, most of all, what drives me is curiosity. I want to see how things work and what people do and why do they do that, and then maybe use my own experience also to inspire people to believe in their own capabilities and to be curious and just keep going and making things and enjoying life. We only have this one, so do the best out of it.
Yeah, you strike me as a curious person, and I share this quality myself. I always love learning, and I'm curious about things, and I think that makes people really develop and reach their full potential. What brought you to Finland? So you said you grew up in Germany. What was the age where you've been visiting, of course, your grandparents, I guess, here in the summer, as you mentioned, but then what happened? What brought you to Finland? When was that timeline? Tell us a little bit. When did you transition to your mother's home country?
Yeah, so this is also embedded a little bit in my childhood, or in my teenage years. I was very active in the school, in the pupils representation, and then I started to get to the age of 17, 18, when I thought, okay, now school will end one day, but I really like to do something for where I live, for the society. And so that's when I joined politics. And I ran for the city council in Frankfurt. I was elected twice, and I ran for the German Bundestag, for the national parliament in 1998. And so very early on, I was quite successful in politics. But I had one crucial moment. The first time I was running for the city council, I didn't make it by just very few votes. And first, that was devastating me because I was so excited about it, and we did such a great campaign.
How old you were at that time?
I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
And so the party hasn't been in the parliament for 16 years, and then we came back in the parliament. We passed the 5% threshold, and in the age group between 18 and 24, we had more votes than in any other age group. So, and that was all due to the campaign that I ran with my young fellows. And so while everyone's celebrating, yeah, we did it, I was like, oh, but I didn't make it. So that was like really hard for me to celebrate the success that I was part of, but not, have also the benefits of getting elected.
So you're highly competitive, I hear. So what was the unique elements of that campaign that you ran as a 20-year-old? What was the unique angle that you took?
As a 20-year-old, I think the running is still easy because you have driven, you want to change the world, you have all these energy, and
you have no children, you're free.
No children, you're a student, and you just have energy for everything. And
all the time in the world.
That as well. You can campaign all the time. At every event you can go, you can organize parties, and you can do all kinds of things. We rented a nightclub and had 400 people celebrating with us and invited famous politicians to come. And our main candidate was Ignaz Bobis, the spokesman of the Jews in Germany, a Holocaust survivor, very famous person throughout German history. And working together with him on the campaign was really fantastic to get to know a person that people around the world knew. I mean, he has met presidents and everything. And then you sit with him at McDonald's, and eat chicken McNuggets, and then you see the other side of him. And so the campaign was a lot about experience and youth, and something that's driving him as a 70-year-old back then and me as a 20-year-old. It was nice, this intergenerational thing. It really, really, up to today, I enjoy that time that I had back then. But so here comes the twist, because you asked me how did I come to Finland. So what happened then is one morning I got up and I said, okay, I didn't really like to study law anymore. It wasn't my thing in that time. I was in law school, and then I did the politics that in my mind at that moment didn't work out. And then I took all my savings, took a train to Spain, and went 3 months to a Spanish language school in Salamanca, and then became friends with one of my classmates that we're still friends with. He's now a diplomat for Germany, stationed in Brussels, and we went backpacking to Argentina to just practice a little bit after our 3 months language school. And then when I was the first time really outside of Europe, I had been to New York once before, but that was then my first time that was something that was completely new to me. South America, developing country, it was like, wow, it hit me like, wow, there's so much in the world I can see. And that got me into this, I want to just go everywhere. So I ended up traveling with the Trans-Siberian Railroad. I was in the year 2000 in the Panama Canal as Panama got their canal back. And so did a lot of these things. And then every time I came back to my hometown, it started to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's like, then I felt like I'm too young to just be here forever and go on vacation. I wanted to live in other places to really see how is it. And since I spent all my childhood summers in Finland and I love it here, I wanted to see how is it when you're not on vacation and it's not summertime. What is it in November or in February to be in Finland? Do I still like it then?
So tell us, please, for those who are wondering, how is it to live in Finland, in this quote-unquote happiest country in the world? How happy are you in the month of November once you experience that?
I always say to all the Finns who are complaining about the weather that it's really an attitude thing. I love these times of the year when it's so light out, when you feel like you have a full day after a full day of work. So you have like 2 days in each day in the summertime. So it's kind of nice to calm down in November and read a book and put a candle on and listen to some music and have this time for me to regroup. Usually when the new year comes, to me, it's like new year, new challenge. Then the stretch between January and March really gets to me. We're like, okay, spring already, I'm done. So that's when you really have to not do the typical hibernation that a lot of people here do. They just follow their routine and hope one day will be springtime. That's when I started doing the ice hole swimming and doing all kinds of things just to.
So you have a positive attitude. You haven't yet been affected by this. Of course, it does affect a lot of people. You're there in the international community and hub there in Otaniemi in Espoo. What is, and you are yourself an international person, multicultural, multilingual, you raise your children also in that kind of setup. What do you think are the challenges that the international community is facing in Finland? Maybe weather is one, is employability another one, is what do you, because you're hearing, you have, I guess, colleagues, from all over the world. You speak with people, you speak from, students at Aalto University and so on. What problems, what issues, what concerns, or even what ideas they have brought to your attention? Because I want to say here, let me promote myself a little bit and you. So I'm running for the Espoo City Council with number 387, and Max is running as well with the National Coalition Party. Maximilian, what is your numbers? Tell us, please.
349.
349. And are you also in the original elections?
In the aluevaalit, yeah, I'm there as well. I think 2272.
2272 and
349.
349. So tell me a little bit about, from your point of view, what is high on your agenda, and what have the residents of Espoo, especially the international community, I want to hear, or there in the innovation hub where you are now, have brought to your attention?
Yeah, so as an international, it's always difficult to go somewhere else, as I've been to other countries myself. And the difference really is when you're not a student anymore. When you're a student, you make lots of friends, everything is exciting, and you mix with the local people. Like when I lived in Argentina, I had only Argentinian friends, and I still have friends from there that are some of my best friends throughout my life. When you move somewhere for work, it's harder because people, wherever you go, they're usually, lots of them have family, have children, they have friends from their own childhood that they don't even have time to see all the time. I don't have time to see all my friends as much as I would like to. Like when I was a student, you see them all the time. So then any new person is difficult for you to accommodate. So it's not even that you don't mean it. You just don't have time to make a lot of new friends when you have to run after kids' hobbies and your work and everything you have in life already. So it is much harder to integrate when you are in an adult life as an international. So that's normal. That's not particular for Finland. That's just a really normal thing. I think Finland has been only opening up a lot for the international community over the past 20 years. I think it was a lot less.
We see here your website. I pulled it up. You can go ahead and share, please continue.
And so I think what the international community here would love to see is like they have a lot of ideas. There's a lot of talent, and there is just by being from somewhere else, naturally you see things from different perspectives. Just because you grew up differently. That is a big benefit for any company, for any classroom, for anything you go to have diversity. It's just like, it enriches life because it brings this curiosity out. Like when you're like, oh, so what do you like? Just trying to eat what other people eat or learning a few sentences. It's always fun. And I think what the international community what you want to feel is that people appreciate what you're bringing to the table. Like, hey, this is really cool that you're coming from such a background, and a lot of internationals have a lot to give. And the market is very small. There's not it's a small country. There's enough problems in the economy here and worldwide that it's not like there's too many jobs available to begin with. So that makes it very hard for the labor market to absorb all the talent, even though it would be there. And so it's not. Sometimes you read these posts like, oh, and like Finland is missing out. Yeah, it's not like anyone does that on purpose. To like, oh, we don't want to hire those, or we're just sticking to ourselves. That it may feel that way, but it is not.
But I must say here, I don't know if you see it from your point of view as a you're also a Finn, right? Your mother is Finnish. I don't know if you see it from a position of privilege, allow me to say, but if you have, and of course your name is not a typical Finnish, but you do speak the language your mother was speaking to you, Finnish. You come from a little bit different perspective, but I must say that I have noticed discrimination if you have a foreign name, if you have dark hair, not to mention dark skin, and you look completely different, or you practice a different religion. It's been researched also, it's been published on the media, if you recall, the research that has been done with the fake CVs, the professor, the researcher at Helsinki University who made the research. And it's a fact, I've seen also a lot of nepotism in Finland, meaning that some positions are given to least qualified Finnish people just because they're blonde, blue-eyed, know the right people. And then you might have a master's degree, a PhD. For instance, in Espoo, there's a lot of PhD students, very smart people from around the world who are unemployed and a part of the Center of Unemployed Highly Competent Foreigners, Koske. And that's a thing. There is the center, it's an innovative project of the city of Espoo trying to really help the highly qualified immigrants. Of course, there's, but I hear your perspective. I'm not sure that the intentions are, but it's a fact, as you said, it's a small country, the position, the economy is going where it's going. So I feel, however, that perhaps the foreigners need to prove they're 10 times better to be considered half good. What is your take in this? Tell us a little bit about your company, for instance, and the companies you worked for. Do you employ internationals? How diverse is your team? And how do you see innovation and internationalism going hand in hand and creating this global go-to-market strategies?
Yeah, so there was a lot of things in your question.
Lots to unpack, so, but just I had to say here that so Acouspin is just a spin-out from the University of Helsinki. We're very new. We're now 4 people, and there's 2 physicists from the university that now joined the company as co-founders, and then the Finnish
people, very, very intelligent gentlemen. And then we have a Colombian who's doing all our AI and the smartness behind our IP that we're building up. And then myself. So we're like I would say 1.5 internationals and 2.5 Finns here. In my past startup, this is my 6th startup that I'm part of, and the second I co-founded. My first co-founded startup, I hired almost only people with some sort of international background, because I see the benefits of it. And it used to be the times when women had to work 10 times harder than men to get still less pay. And that's still a problem. And now foreigners, now imagine foreign and women, how hard you have to work to get a job, to get a decent pay. And that is like an attitude thing. It's an old macho attitude. On one hand, there's a nepotism, as you say. It's bad business. It's just like, I would not want to even work for a company like that, because the culture in such a company is of that. I've worked for a company where there was a little bit, one part of the company could never get fired. We knew that. And the other part, whenever there was like the Finnish ute, and when they said, okay, now we have some layoffs, you knew if you belong to one group, you're safe. If you belong to the other one, you're not. But that company cannot strive. And it never strived. It was constantly requiring funding and never got anywhere. And so when you see the good sides of it, and I'm an optimist, and you will never change that. And I always try to embrace the things how they are. I can complain about the situation, but it doesn't help me. And it doesn't help an international professional in Finland to just complain. I understand it's frustrating, but it doesn't get you further. So look at the companies that are founded by people in their 40s and younger. They are much more likely to hire international talent. The statistics show that the companies that were founded in the past 10 years, they hire proportionally much more foreigners than anyone else. And it's not necessarily because, for like, oh, we just want to be nice. No, they know we find the right people in a certain type of education, a certain kind of background. And that's also what I say against people who say, oh, we got to first get jobs for our own people. That's also not true, because that would imply that we're living in like a 19th century factory environment and every worker has the same skill. But there's always, on the labor market that's diversified, you have open positions and you have unemployed people, and you cannot just match them because there's certain skills required. And with the companies that are newer, especially when they're tech oriented, anything that gets funded by Business Finland has a requirement. Can you create IP? Can you make something typical that you could protect? Can you export it? Can you create income and wealth for Finland? All these companies that want funding from the public side have requirements of being export oriented. These are natural, the ones that also need the people who can bring services somewhere else to understand the world. So I would go mingle and make connections where you think your employer market is most receptive. And one of those places is Otaniemi. I started mingling here myself with lots of companies to see what's going on, what are here. And there's always someone who can help you. And in this, especially in a tech and a startup environment, I see a lot of this live and let live attitude. People like to help others because it's good karma, it'll pay off. Also for yourself, or if not, the person you help, they'll help someone else in the future. And if you are in this environment, they don't see color, they don't see gender so much. They just see, hey, there's people who want to change the world and make something cool. And for a professional, international, that also would mean sometimes you may not get the job you want, or you may get a foot in the door if you're able to adapt to some needs that a company has.
Can I ask you now, Maximilian, you have a vast international experience. You started studying law, then you became an economist, you're a founder, you're a technologist, you have many professional merits and hats that you're wearing. And I think all the people who are this of curious nature, and that's why I asked you about your childhood, because I believe we are products of our childhood. It has its pros and cons, but we carry those innate qualities. In Greek, the Greek word charakteres, it's something that you engraved. It's engraved in you. And then the personality, you have different personalities and adapting ones. But I want to ask you on a personal level, because something I didn't know about you, and why didn't you mention to me, is that you have been practicing Taekwondo like me. Is that true?
Yes, I still do it in my head a lot.
You do?
When I can't sleep, I do my patterns in my head until I fall asleep.
Really?
Yeah, it works.
I also practice Taekwondo here at Espoo Taekwondo Academy in Saunalahti. I'm an assistant coach. So very excellent. So tell us a little bit about you as a person. What hobbies do you have? What do you enjoy doing at your free time? Where do you recuperate and gather your thoughts?
Free time is a little rare these days, but I do love martial arts because it's an art, and it's like a balance of mind and body and a constant improvement. And it's not something where you go from A to B and I do this to achieve that, but it's the way is the it's the constant improving, the constant challenging yourself. And there's a good spirit among martial artists usually. There's a nice community of helping each other, improving, practicing together, and just become a better yourself mentally and physically. I see that one that's on there. That one hurt because I didn't get it through in the first time.
Okay, so here you were breaking boards. So this is something I enjoy doing as well. So excellent. Next time we have to meet and we practice some Taekwondo together. I'd love to welcome you to Saunalahti school where we practice. So you could be our guest coach there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about the children here, the families of Espoo. Espoo is a very it's a top priority, top choice for families. I have personally bought my first flat in Finland. I could have bought it earlier when I was in Helsinki. I lived many years in Helsinki, but maybe I was thinking that maybe I live somewhere else, or I go to US or UK or wherever, back to Greece. But eventually, when I decided to stay in Finland, I bought my first house in Saunalahti. I'm raising my son here. What are the merits of the city of Espoo for families? And what do you think, in your opinion, we should focus on?
I think it's fantastic that children can move on their own. That is not normal anymore everywhere in the world. Partly because there's a generation of helicopter parents and everyone's worried too much, and partly because some parts of the world are just not safe enough. If you are in the US and your children walk alone on the street, someone will call the police on you, and they come to your house and they question you, like Child Protective Service, like, what? I just let my kid walk to the park and play football. What's wrong with you? But that is a reality there. And so I really like it that my kids can just go out the door, and our doors sometimes not even closed. It's just open all day long.
Where do you live? Which part of Espoo?
I live in Laurinlahti.
Laurinlahti, right?
Yeah. We lived in Soka for 4 years, and now we've been to Laurinlahti for almost 4 years now.
And you have 3 children?
Yes.
Yes.
Busy. So, but they're all very independent. My children go to the German school in Helsinki, so they've been going on public transport since early on. It's a long way to get there and come home. Mm-hmm. But then when I went to visit my brother in Berlin last fall, my son had been friends with the son of the German ambassador, the previous one, and they moved back to Berlin. And he called him and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Berlin." And then he just jumped on public transport in Berlin and went to visit his friend because he was used to just going on his own. He knows how to find the schedules and where to go, and then whether it's here or somewhere else, it's just it's just a practice thing. You're not afraid. Of course, there he speaks the language, but it was I like that thing about Espoo. It's easy to get outside the door, get fresh air. There's bicycle lanes everywhere. You can go all the way from Espoo to Helsinki along the water, and there's a lot of safe methods to get around, and it's easy to have family here. It's easy to, it's almost everything's easy here. It's like we're so pampered with it, and sometimes forget how nice it is. That's why I always think it's good to live abroad.
To get some perspective, definitely. I must say, however, that as myself, I don't have Finnish roots, even though I deeply love Finland and the language. My son is a Finnish Greek boy, but I feel that sometimes you cannot, because when you love something, you want to make it even better. So it's good to criticize it a bit, because then nothing would be even better. So yes, the perspective I understand, but I would like to criticize my own home country of Greece, as I always been doing, but also now this country that I call home. For instance, there is areas in Sanolahti, I must say, we have some issues that could be developed still. Like there are small differences where you live. But something for closure now, Maximilian, what legacy do you want to leave behind? You're a multi-talented person. You've been doing so much, super active, dad, entrepreneur, economist, business, this and that, politics. What don't you do? But if you want to, if you remember the future and your legacy, so if you try to go 50 years in time, what legacy, people searching for you, your ancestors, the kids of your kids, and so on, what is the image, the legacy you want to leave behind? To be known as what? A man who fill in the dots.
That's a very good question you're asking. So, as you're from Greece, I love the word kairos, the inflection point that it was meant, like a moment where your life could go into a different direction. And the ancient Greek celebrated that as something very important, that change can be something good. It come by chance, by accident, or enforced, or you just feel it, something's happening, and now I should go take my life in a different direction. And so I think embracing change, never giving up, always seeing the positive side. Like Martin Luther King said, if the world was going to explode tomorrow, I would still plant an apple tree today. And I just think about, I always want to do good. And I want other people to believe in their own capabilities and enjoy life at the fullest, even in the moments when it's difficult. And I want to be remembered as someone, Max is always positive. He was always optimistic. He always kept that child inside of him. When you keep that child in yourself, so many things become easier because you don't take everything too serious. You're an adult, you make adult decisions, but don't be like so, and I think it makes you stay younger and happier and grow older if you can just maintain this childhood curiosity and embrace the world how it's coming to you.
I agree 100% with you. And if you want to find more about Maximilian LeRoux, check out thinkglobal.fi, thinkglobal.fi, and here is his site, but we don't see, of course, but this is what it is, thinkglobal.fi, easy to remember. And Maximilian LeRoux was with me today. Maximilian, before you go, I want to give a little task. I want you to ask one question to my next guest. I will jump from our session now to interview another person. So help me out. What is the one question, let's say when you're recruiting people, or when you are when you want to get something from your kids, insights, or people you just met, what would be the one question that will tell you so much about the person? As they say in Finnish, is the person a fish or a bird? So what would be the one question that you love to ask to people?
Oh, I always love to ask people about, can they remember in the moment when they were completely happy? But it's a very difficult one to answer. People will have to think about it.
So I will take this with me. I would like to thank you so much, Maximilian LeRoux. Find more about him at thinkglobal.fi, and of course follow him on LinkedIn. Connect with him. Do you have invitations from people?
If they come with a recommendation or someone I know, then I do. I don't accept everyone, but quite a few. I want to have some connection with my connections.
Connection with connection. So if you have a good idea or you have common friends, reach out, check his profile. And of course, he has a great website, as I said. Here it is again, thinkglobal.fi, and read more about him auf Deutsch, in English, in Finnish, you name it, multilingual man. So thank you so much, Maximilian. Have a nice rest of the day, sunny day there behind you.
Thank you, Carissa, and good luck in the elections.
Thank you. Same to you. I will say, I'll see you in person actually in the coming days.
That's right. Okay, see you then.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you for this. This was Connections Unplugged. Every week I bring to you one of my LinkedIn connections. I want to get to know them myself on a deeper level, both professional and personal. And you have a chance to eavesdrop into our conversation. I'm multi-streaming thanks to OneStream Live, an amazing company from Espoo, just where Maximilian was working for there in Otaniemi in Espoo. OneStream.live. Check out more. You have a chance from the studio where I'm using at the moment to multi-stream to more than 45 destinations, social media, as well as your website. So I will see you next week with another interesting person. And of course, reach out to me if you want to be featured on the show. Thank you.